Right, good evening everyone, and welcome to round 1 of the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, once again brought to you by Europa Racing League. Yesterday you had the pre-season for the M2 Cup. Round 1 of that will be coming next week, of course, but having a quick old look at what you can perhaps expect. So Porsche 911 GT3 Cup runs a slightly shorter format than the BMW M2 Cup Series. So we start tonight with Brands Hatch. This is all UK tracks on this one, so it is all homegrown in terms of the tracks you will be expecting to see. Brands Hatch this week. Next time round, second round will be from Alton Park. Third round will be from Donington Park. Fourth round from Snetterton, and the final round of the season will take us to Silverstone and the home of most British motorsports. So a nice finale there to look forward to on the 22nd of February. But our attention will be focused on the first round of the season, which they've already had the pre-season for this last week, so we're straight into round number 1. But we will have, as I say, we've got Brands Hatch again, much like last week, well, not last week, yesterday for the M2 Cup, which for a very small grid was a very entertaining pre-season race, with their first round coming up in Hungaroring next week, next Friday. So look forward to that one when that comes out, because that will be a little bit away. But let's just run through a few of the drivers that will be participating in this round here tonight, here in the 911 GT3 Cup cars. So we'll go into drive and see if we can find currently at the moment who's out on the track. Someone in the floor there for a second. Right. This is the thing, is I need to find the car I'm looking for, and I can't find it for some reason. And it's not allowing me. There we are, that's the car I was looking for. Rich, you'll remember, he's in the M2 Cup Series on Fridays as well. In this series he is driving the Pure Racing number 911. Mike, I don't believe, is in the lobby yet. We'll actually go back to this, so you can see a better idea of the cars who are racing. We'll just have Rich in the background for the moment. Your driving teams for this one, it is Dutch in, if he's here, Dutch in the Porsche Motorsport number 992. Absolute Racing number 97 is Mike B, the Canadian who was unfortunate not to be able to race in the M2 Cup yesterday in pre-season around here. Car Collection Motorsports number 24 is Blackadder PT. Yeah, as I say, expecting quite a much larger grid here tonight. CL Racing number 44 / number 22, depends on which one he is driving that one with. I don't think he is currently in this free practice session at the moment, unless I'm blind and not seeing him, which I don't think he is here. So he's race Silvano 045 and the CL Racing team either 44 or 22. Dynamic GT Racing, either number 54, 55 or 56. That one is Fred Osborne, he's in the 54. Brookie in the GMG Racing 32. He is currently in the pits at the moment. Grove Racing number 23 is Kizo. I don't think here at the moment. Harveth Racing number 91, that's Ethan. I don't believe he's going to be racing tonight, unfortunately. Huber Motorsport number 20, that is Jamie. I believe he is in the pits currently at the moment. Looking a little bit further down, Mani Racing, or Mani EMA Racing team number 92, that is Kieran Evans. MDK Motorsports number 53 is Dr. Warp. Not sure if he's in the lot, if he's in here or not at the moment. Modena Motorsports number 216, that's GTA Motorsport. Raiden Racing number 85, that's Ignition 91. He is actually number 28, I believe we are going to go into qualifying. So I'll just round off here. RS1 Racing, RS1 team is Breakfast Burrito. Rotronic. Racing number 96 is CMP Official. Team Parker Racing number 62 is Jewish Dave. And Justin Motorsports number 45 is of course just Justin. We'll have to see how many of those drivers are actually in today. But we're going to have the drivers heading out for the qualifying. Again, 15-minute format for that one, and then we will have 2 races once again. But it is a very different ball game this time round. These cars much faster on track where overtaking could be a little bit more of a challenge this time round, because the M2 Cup cars were a little bit smaller yesterday, so expecting to see maybe a little bit more trouble on overtaking on what is, I say, it's just purely the racetrack, well, this track for this year. I think that's number 32. I think that's Brookie. He's currently the first car. So one of these Porsche Cup cars, if I can get around and find him. No, that's not what I'm looking for. There we are. Find the camera angle that I want. There we are. So we'll do it from the onboard of the number 32 Porsche. Number 32 Porsche, the GT3 CUP car. So anyway, taking through a lap of this Brands Hatch circuit for those who perhaps were not here yesterday, as he's now heading down towards, I believe at the moment he's down towards Clearway, so it's Clark Curve to start on his first lap of many in this session. A little bit wide coming out there, does keep hold of the car as he now heads down towards Brabham straight in towards Paddock Hill Bend, turn 1. And heading down the hill, as I say once again, this track undulations are going to be a factor for the race going ahead. Heading down towards Halewood's Hill and into Druids. And now in towards the next couple of corners down Graham Hill and in towards Graham Hill Bend, and then heading in towards the Cooper Straight, which will then lead the next corner of Surtees very quickly following up after that. And then in towards Pilgrim Drop. Very much named because the drop in elevation. You go up and then immediately come back down as you head down towards the next head corner, which is Westfield, and into Dingledell. Corner following that, the sort of kink in the middle, which then leads you in towards Sheen Curve. As you head in towards the next corner that he's coming up to Sheen Curve now. Heads through and then in towards Stirling's for what will be the penultimate corner. Once again down towards Clearways as he heads down towards Clark Curve. What will be the final time? So what will Brookie be able to do here in the number 32 Porsche? And across the line he goes for his first run, and it is going to be a 1 minute 25.9. For the number 32 driver, with what is one of the, as I say, obviously you've got a bit of limitations with what you've got in Xbox, of course, but very colourful livery on that Porsche, of course. I believe that's the GMG Racing, that one. I believe Rich has gone quickest. Trying to see who's coming around next. As I say, it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult choice here. I'm trying to see if I can see the map of where certain people are on the track. It's Rich currently who's quickest at the moment. We'll have a quick old look at the initial lap times at the moment. Your 4 lap times on the board at the moment is Rich currently who's got the quickest time. It's a 1:24.8 from Rich. Jewish Dave currently in second position. He's 4/10 behind on a 25.3 at the moment. His first run, or second run potentially at this point. BMY Brookie, who was the one we're on board with, a 25.9, and then CMP Official is on a 28.2 in the number, so the number 911 of Rich, followed by Jewish Dave number 62, then the 92 of Kieran Evans, who's just gone into that third position, 7/10 behind, and Blackadder has just popped himself in towards P5 in the number 24 car, the 1:26.1 for him on his first run. I think we just got a couple of cars. It's Fred Osborne and McNeish who are still yet to get their lap times on the board. We'll go and see if we can find out how they're getting on. Jamie is, I think, middle set. Well, he's in the middle at the moment. He's in the middle of a Pilgrim Drop, I do believe, heading in towards Westfield at the moment. So we'll see what the number 20 Number 20 Porsche Can Do. I believe that one is the. Let's see. Let's have a quick old look and see which one that one would be. It's a little bit further up. I'm being able to find that. He looks like there's a little bit of trouble through the gravel trap there. So number 20 car there. If I can, where for some reason I can't actually see him. It's the Huber Motorsports car. Is that one? As he's in the gravel trap once again, having a little bit of trouble. Fred's currently in the pits. CMP official, currently on. I'm not sure if he's on. I think he's improving on his lap time. He's about 4/10 on his personal best, having done a 30.7 last time around. He's in a 22 as his personal best. Currently in 6th position. For him, he's on the number 96 car, the Rutronic car, which is again, I believe, the colours of that very much remind me of a Swedish flag on that one, so it could potentially be an irrelevance to a Swedish company. But maybe that's just me thinking that. Morth actually thinks of it as it sounds more like a German company, to be honest, if it was anything. But as I say, CMP official coming towards Clark Curve for the final time. He's a second up on his lap time, so we're looking at an improvement of about 1.2 seconds. So he's going to dip in towards, I think, the 26s. Yes, so 27s rather. 20, just over the 27 mark. He remains in P6 for the time being, though. We'll see Blackadder. I think he is down on his time at the moment by a 10th at the moment, as we got about 8 minutes left in this qualifying session. As I say, 8 viewers in the chat. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully, as I say, you're looking forward to racing action here. As I say, every race of this Porsche Cup will be covered at 8:30, or around about 8:30. Maybe the last few minutes of free practice, so it may start a little bit later than that. So you'll probably see a little bit of last few minutes of free practice, qualifying, and the 2 race formats. Hopefully, as I say, everything all works as it should this week. Well, today had trouble yesterday with connections for certain people in the M2 Cup in pre-season, but hopefully those should all be ironed out for that first round next week on Friday, which will be at the same time at around about 8:30. Probably a little bit later starts on those ones as well. As I say, obviously it's a little bit. I will see when we can sort of try and include them at some point throughout the season, whenever, if and when possible, with limitations of course. The drivers, see if I can actually figure out how to include driver sort of thoughts going into the races themselves, but that'll be a thing for further down the line. But Blackadder, I think, is currently up on his time as he's going through Pilgrim Drop at the moment, heading through Westfield to Dingledale and in towards Sheen Curve. He's heading at the moment. Obviously, the reference of Blackadder, that's another one which is a thing. Is if you know the TV series, that's the thing. For some reason, it came to my head as the first one. Ran for about 2 to 4 seasons. On that one, I do believe. So yeah. Anyway, Blackadder coming around to finish on his lap. He's about a 10th up on his lap. He's also a little bit coming out of Clark Curve. He's down to about half a 10th gained. Was a little bit less than that. It was a 1:26.1 at the line. So let's see who else is currently out on laps at the moment. We got McNish. I think he's down on his lap time at the moment, having a little bit of trouble. Jewish Dave looks quite close to improving / not improving on his lap time, so we'll have a look and see how. I believe the PlayStation driver is indeed getting on. Most of the lobby, of course, you'll be able to see the Xbox drivers as they are. But as I say, Jewish Dave, I don't think he's going to be improving on that lap. He's about 2nd down at the moment. He's currently down on their time as well. Kieran Evans then in the number 92 car, and I believe that's the man EMA number 92 car here. Obviously, once again, spec series, meaning that it is all on drivers to perform to best of abilities and get what they can out of the car, because obviously with no clear advantage in terms of the way the cars work, well, no clear advantage from having a different car and maybe having a bit more straight line speed, of course. The difference of these cars, obviously, the M2 from yesterday was a bit more, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It would have been a bit more tail happy if you put the power in a little bit too early, but you should have a little more grip with these cars, considering the engine, of course, is over the rear wheels in this car. Of course, you do have to be a little bit careful with the power delivery of the car to make sure you don't try and put the power down too early, as you're, of course, at much higher speeds in this one than you are in the M2 Cup cars, of course, for certain drivers. Some of these drivers, of course, do race between the two, so it could be a little bit of adjustments periods between. That's why the free practice session is an important one to make sure that this all works, of course. I think Kieran Evans, he's marginally down at the moment, but gained a little bit as he's heading through Pilgrim Drop, having come out of 30s. And in towards Westfield he's currently heading. I think, yeah, he's currently, I think he is backed off on the lap, potentially. Yes, he has. Not happy with that one. Rich, currently your quickest lap time at the moment. I believe he still holds the top position in this qualifying session. He's down on that time. I think he's going to be going for another lap. Jamie, I think, was on a lap, but I think he's invalidated, so unfortunate there for the number 20 car there. So unfortunate in this case. It's a nice livery on that car as well, sort of half red, half blue. Actually, I think that might be colours of the French flag looking at that one as well. Who knows? Could potentially be a Frenchman behind the wheel. Well, it would be interesting to see if that was actually the case. I think he's having a little bit of trouble on that one. Fred Osborne, another one, as I say, who drove in the I'd say, drove in the M2 Cup yesterday. Had a little bit of trouble at points. Ended up finishing 4th in both those races. Will be a little bit more of a competitive field throughout the season. Well, throughout this one, this grid. As I say, we have 10 drivers. I think we were meant to have a little bit more, but I think a few people were not able to attend, unfortunately. So, as I say, we are looking forward to seeing how these 10 drivers do get on, of course. We'll have to see why that's just done that. That's really annoying. Right. As I say, I think everything is, of course, all good on quality. That is good. So we'll leave that there so I can see what is going on. I'll try and reload that back up onto here because it's just decided it wants to be annoying. Yeah. Anyway, Fred on his well, maybe not his first lap, on a new effort for him as he's heading through. He's, as I say, a little bit wide coming out there. He's about 4/10 up on his previous personal best, currently in position 6 at the moment for the number 54. Can run between, I think, between 3 numbers from what I could see from the documentation that shows the list. As I say, Spotter's Guide is not ready as of quite yet, so that will hopefully be something I can have reference to as of next week. Anyway, Fred with a little bit of trouble heading out of 30s there. That is a place I'm going to see that I'm seeing that a lot of drivers are having trouble with, as we have a 1 minute 40 left in this qualifying session, when we will have 2 20-minute races to decide who will get the first points of the season in this one. So thank you. Right. As I say, right. Fred coming towards the start-finish line to finish up on what will be his next effort. He'll probably have time for one more around here. As I say, the drivers will have fueled up for maybe a few less laps around here, of course. He stays in 6th position. CMP is in 8th at the moment. We'll have a quick old look and see who is where in terms of the times. So it's still Rich on top at the moment. Kieran Evans is currently in 2nd place. He's just under 3/10 behind. So Rich on a 24.8, then it is Kieran Evans on a 25.1, 25.2 for Jewish Dave, just under 4/10 behind. Then it is Rookie in 4th, 1 second, just over 1.1 seconds back from Rich at the moment. Then it's Blackadder is 1.2 seconds just behind on a 126.1. Then it's 126.167, so very close between Blackadder and Fred Osborne. Then McNeish in 7th. He's well, they've done a 1 minute. They've done a 1 minute 26.7, 1.8 seconds back. CMP official is in 8th, 127.0 for CMP official, 2.1 behind, and then Jamie has struggled and has not really got a lap time on the board yet. He's done a 44.3, so I think he's got to find a little bit of time. See if I can get on board with the cars currently on the lap at the moment, as I think everyone is indeed now finished. We'll go on board with Rich and see if I can't actually go on the drive thing feature now. So you're gonna have to be stuck with this one at the moment. See if Rich is gonna improve on that 24.8 at the moment. You see the cars currently on track, a lot of cars in the pit lane. That is their final laps done and dusted. That max, as I say, we got 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes of wait time, of course. And then qualifying, as I say, will be done, and then we'll move into the 220-minute race format. So, as I say, look, be interesting to see how these drivers deal with that as Rich comes into the pit lane. So that is him done. Kieran Evans on a lap still, of course, as see if he can perhaps steal that whole position, which will cover both races, of course, race 1 and race 2, 20 minutes apiece between the two races, starting at 1 PM for race 1 and then 4 PM for race 2, and hopefully, as I say, there'll be less issues and we won't run into night time like what was happening last time. And of course, that was a one-off, I do believe, from what I've now been told, as here comes Kieran Evans to finish up on his final run. Is it enough? And I believe no, it was not. So Kieran Evans finishes up in second position. So Rich is your pole position time. Kieran Evans lines up alongside in the second row is going to be Jewish Dave and Rookie. Third and fourth, fifth and sixth is going to be Blackadder and Fred Osborne. Seventh and eighth, McNish and CMP Official. Jamie in ninth, Burrito in 10th, not having got qualifying time in. Silvano in 11th and Carnage in 12th in the number 216. So Silvano in number 44, Burrito in the number 28, and Carnage in the number 216. So we will now have the end of qualifying and we will be getting underway for racing here. Getting underway very shortly. Let's go and see if I can return to garage. There we go. I think everyone is indeed finished on the laps. Don't think anyone is still going around, so as I say, just need to wait for the timer to go in. Interesting to see if some of these drivers get on down the bottom here with their race performance, because obviously, don't know, some of these drivers joining a little bit later will mean they might not be able to do the races perhaps. We saw that yesterday when people got kicked out of the lobbies early, when qualifying had finished. Some qualifying in race, unfortunate for, I think it was Mike, unfortunate. Who was not able to race due to that. So, as I say, we're just awaiting the action to be started for the 20-minute race, which will be an interesting one. As I say, interesting to watch how the drivers go about this 20-minute races here between race 1 and race 2, and it should be an interesting watch, as I say. So don't go anywhere, because I think we will have some great action to follow on this one. But as I say, this is where you're going to be seeing all the racing action for these rounds, as we are now awaiting the start of the races, and I think it's only the top 9 who have been able to get a lap time in. So unfortunately, those drivers will not be able to race in this session, unfortunately. The importance of getting yourself in a little bit earlier in qualifying or in the free practice. So race 1, the 2-minute timer is on, and the drivers will have their time to sort out mainly just their fuel for how much they want to carry throughout this race, of course. And again, you can take advantage of engine maps to perhaps save a little bit of fuel behind cars, etc, etc, of course. We wait. The calm before the storm of round number 1. Very different ball game this time round, though. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars are very much. You're gonna have more grip on the rear, of course. As mentioned before, the grip is very good on the rear of these cars because the back end the engine pressing down the rear wheels, of course, which is, as I say, going to be an important one, as I say, to maybe perhaps exploit maybe getting an inside on a car that is around you, of course. But we, as I say, are just over a minute away from race start in race 1 of 2 here for tonight. As You want to grab your refreshments now. For those who are not racing, of course, you will need to have both hands on the steering wheel at all times, or controller. You could also be racing, you can still race this game on controller, it's just a little bit more difficult at places. But 50 seconds just under to race start. For Europa Racing League, for the Porsche Cup. As hopefully we will see, well, as I say, we'll have the same level of action as we did from yesterday, as we're going to get ourselves underway very shortly. As you can tell there's the 30-second timer warning from the announcer there. That's also your spotter as well if you're in the race as well. So
20 seconds.
Here we go. About to be underway in the next sort of 15 seconds or so within this, as 10 seconds are remaining. So underway, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is now on Rich once again, who will be getting us underway. We're going to go and see if we can find an onboard. We'll go and just go in the onboards, and here we go. Kieran Evans alongside the double formation format, of course, much like the M2 Cup from yesterday. It's here as they now have to wait and being careful of not to speed. Guys, you can pick up a drive-through for speeding before you get to the start of the Grand Prix. The number 92 versus the number 911 on the front row. As well as everyone else behind is going to be the drivers behind who will be clawing to see if they can gain positions as well, as we're about to be underway with green flag racing, as the line's going to come up very quickly on the Brabham Straight. Down towards Paddock Hill Bend they all head, so away we go for the first race of the Porsche Cup. As all the same as we go through. Rich and Kieran going side by side. Is it going to Druid? Is it going to be a move made for the lead of the Grand Prix? Well, the Grand Prix, I'm going back into old habits of this Porsche Cup race. Rich holds on to the lead at the moment. I don't know why this does this, where I cannot find the cars I'm looking for. Looks like, as I say, a Blackadder and CMP a little bit further back in the battle for position number 6. It'd be nice to see if I could actually find the driver I was indeed looking for. As Blackadder looks like he's fell back just a little bit, 1 second back from there, as Jammy's looking to try and make a move on Fred Osborne. A little further behind, as Jewish Dave is going to be under pressure from Brookie behind in the battle for position number 3 at the moment. The PlayStation driver trying to make his position as Brookie, the number 32. Brookie in 4th makes a little bit of a mistake. He's going to be under pressure from Blackadder. As I'm going to see if I can try and get that on board with that particular car rather than, see if I can actually do that. Or are they going to put me back on the car I was already on? No, sorry, just put me back in the same car I was already on. Anyway, as Jewish Davies a little bit further back than 310s, as I say, the gaps do indicate change per, I think, comes every time you come around to the line. As it looks like Kieran Evans is just about hanging on to that, as once it is Rich will set the initial tone of fastest lap. On lap number 1, of course, might be a few more laps in this one because of the shortness of the track, of course. As we'll see what's going on a little bit further back in terms of, let's see where the battles currently are going on. Looks like that's from the number 32 at the moment. That's looking from 4th down. Looking very close, as CMP official has got a car behind him as well, so we'll see if we can get down to CMP official a little bit further down. If you'll just jam me in a minute, with swapping a position between the two of them. So we'll go on the onboard camera shots for just a few of a moment, as that's someone out wide, I do believe. A little bit of a moment. Potentially could have been Fred. Having a little bit of the moment of what he was looking at. Fred Osborne, as I say, I think he was a little bit wide. He's currently putting CMP under pressure, but making a little bit of a mistake. It's going to allow a chance for Jamie to catch up, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this one. We'll go up to Blackadder, is currently being put under pressure from Brookie and Fred Osborne behind, as CMP is only a marginal second back in what could be a 4-car battle for the leaders. It's 1 second between the two leaders, as Kieran and Rich are separated, as Jewish Dave also Brookie, as I say. I think this is your closest on-board battle at the moment. I think he could be Fred behind as well. You've got Fred trying to gain ground on CMP official, who's trying to gain ground on this leading train at the moment. but as I say, we're trying to make the move down the inside, trying to see if we can get on board with him. There we go. As I say, all very close together in this battle for position 4 at the moment, as the top 3 are all kind of getting away from these drivers behind, as Blackadder is finding himself under pressure from 3 cars behind, could lose 3 positions if he's not careful in this field as they head down through Pilgrim Drop towards Westfield for what will be the second lap around for the race here. Race 2 is for about, I think that's 16 minutes we've gone through so far. Well, 60 minutes in, so we've got 4 minutes in. As I say, these races are incredibly quick, so you do kind of have to decide quite rapidly when you want to make your moves work, I suppose. So, that's Fred taking a little bit more out of that corner than he probably would have wanted. As I say, the corner karting system in this game is fairly lenient when it comes to the races, but you do get, as I say, for very heinous cutting, you do get a 3-cut warning system, and if you do not obey that, you get a 30-second stop-go penalty, I do believe, from the game if you're not careful. But as I say, Brookie continues to put the pressure on the back of Blackadder. So the number 32 car versus the number 24 car here for position number 4. Still going on into Druids as Brookie tries to send down the inside into Druids, but not able to do it as we're now heading down Graham Hill and in towards Graham Hill Bend for the 3rd time. I thought it was one of the most cut-off cars. Into Surtees now. They're going to go side by side into Surtees, and Blackadder having to leave the space on the outside, but we'll have the better exit as it's the tighter exit for Brookie on the inside. CMP official on the back of this one, as well as Fred Osborne just behind in that little train of cars. You've then got McNeish in the background as well, who's gaining ground in this little train of cars for what is position number 4 still. Blackadder, as I say, they've Jewish Dave kind of on his own at the moment. Kieran Evans is still within 1 second, car behind, car ahead. That's Rich for the lead of the Grand Prix, but this is your main battle going on at the moment, is currently your battle for position 4. Blackadder holding on to that position at the moment and having to see if he can perhaps catch up. We'll go back and see what's going on with that battle for the lead for the moment, as it's currently, I think, Kieran Evans had fastest lap last time around, 25.0. 6.5 between the two of them. Rich still holding on to his position in the lead of the Grand Prix, and the gap is back over 1 second, nearly 1.2 seconds once again between the two of them as they're heading into Druids and in towards Graham Hill and Graham Hill Bend. Once again between the two of them, as it's very close between the two of them. We're going to go back to the battle for what is currently 4th position, as Blackadder runs a little bit wide coming out of Graham Hill and in towards Graham Hill Bend once again. Between these two, as it's very wide from Blackadder, it's going to give Brookie a chance round the outside, making the move on Surtees, as Blackadder has a lack of momentum coming out of that corner due to running wide through, I think he ran wide at Cooper Straight, which I think was where he lost the momentum and has lost 4th position to Brookie there. CMP official has dropped a little bit behind, but does have Fred Osborne for company just behind. Between the two of them, Blackadder will be looking to make that position back up once again and see if these will form it back into a 4-car train once again. Blackadder in the number 24 car versus, as I say, the number 32 car here for position, as I say, still position 4, as we're just under 13 minutes left in this race 1. As I say, all about, as I say, no pit stops, of course, unless you do pick up damage in a serious manner, and that's the only reason I think you will be pitting in this race. But still continuing in the same way they were, as Ricky continues to try and see if he can pull away, as it's 1.1 seconds. Blackadder with a little bit of mistake on that lap. Will be looking to remedy that one and make his way back, as that's going to be, I think that's Fred Osborne trying to make his way through, as if I can get the right car, thank you. As Fred Osborne and CMP official battle for position 6 at the moment. As I say, had a quick look at the Discord chat earlier on, and CMP official saying he was not that quick around here, perhaps not as confident as he was in the M2 Cup cars behind as they're through Surtees once again. As I say, I do notice the cars quite often, more than not, go running a little bit wide coming out of the exit of Surtees as they now head down through Pilgrim Drop and in towards Westfield once again. These two, as I say, your closest current two on track, as I think Blackadder's falling back a little bit, and it could be a three-way battle for position 5 if CMP Official can get a little bit of ground gained on the 74 car ahead. So the number 96 Porsche with the number 54 Porsche just behind, looking to try and make a mark on the field, of course. For position at number 6 at the moment. It could be position 5 if these two are indeed close enough. So your current field at the moment, we'll leave this on this just now, but at the moment there's your gaps as you see them just now. It's currently Rich who is your leader still, 1.4 seconds ahead of Kieran Evans, 6 laps down in the race so far. 5.5 to Jewish Dave, who has a little bit of gap to Brookie with 3.8 seconds. 1.9 as Blackadder's now falling back. 1.8 seconds to CMP Official, who has Fred Osborne for company just behind McNish rather, on 20 seconds behind these two in position 8, and then finally position 9 is Jamie, 1.7 seconds behind in that battle for position number 8 as well. And we'll go back to the racing action here. Quickest lap time at the moment, we'll have a quick look at that in just a little bit, as Fred is still holding on to that position. And we'll go on to the onboard shot there, as you can see him chasing down CMP Official ahead. Was on the edge a little bit, Fred Osborne, during the qualifying session, but I suppose with this track you kind of have to take as much as you can with those without seeing what you can get away with. But he has run a little bit wide, which is going to cost him a little bit of time. He's now heading through Stirling's and now into Clearways and in towards Clark Curve for what will be the beginning of their lap 7, of course. 26.7 last time around, I think he will be. Not too much slower than previous lap, but he is down. He's 1.2 seconds behind it. The one thing I will say is the great thing of having the onboards with these cars is you get these sort of different prominent sounds that you get from these cars, which the one thing I love about these cars is the sort of the gear, you get the engine note, but then you also get the sort of transmission, the sound of the transmission, which comes off in these race cars as well, because obviously no soundproofing as such to sort of drown anything out. So you get the sort of the raw feeling of what the drivers actually get in this sort of onboard camera. Sort of maybe more of an offshoot camera, to be honest, more than anything else. Is an improvement, as I say, on this lap on Fred Osborne at the moment. He's currently looking good for an improvement there as a CMP Official. He's gained a little bit of ground actually, CMP Official. He's trying to gain the ground on Blackadder ahead, and oh, that's a big crash. He's just been avoided. I think that potentially might be some damage on the front of the Porsche there, the number 96 of CMP Official. That's going to be the route track. Number 96 car. Unfortunate there for the CMP Official, so he's now down a position. That's allowed Fred Osborne ahead, and all of that one is now slowed Blackadder a little bit of a gap. And all of that, but we'll go back to your leaders and see what's going on there. Jewish Dave actually has ran wide through, I think it's he's run through Halewoods Hill, so it's going to allow cars behind to catch up, and he's going to be further behind now. So Jewish Dave, that's not the most ideal of lines, as the GMG number 32 car of Brookie is going to be catching up now towards the back of Jewish Dave after that result. That's 1.8 seconds, and Blackadder now is back within 0.8 of a second as well, as they're now heading through Surtees and now through Pilgrim Drop, heading towards Westfield once again. As Ricky now tries to, as I say, Jewish Dave is going to have to build that gap up once again, having made that big mistake. Not sure, as I say, how it happened, but we did catch the end result of it, which was not the most ideal of the races there. The most ideal of times for him is running a little bit wide there, as I think he's through Dingledale there, through Sheen Curve and heading in towards Stirling's once again, and through Clearways. 7 minutes remaining just over in this first race here, and Rookie now trying to see if he can keep back the Blackadder once again. A little bit wide though, that's going to be a loss of positions there for Brookie, coming out of Clark Curve exit and into the Brabham Straight. Loss of momentum may well cost position to himself, to Fred Osborne as well, who could potentially gain ground in the battle for position 5 there, as Blackadder makes their way through back into position 4 once again. Drew Stade now 11 points, 11.5 I think that gap was at last count. So we'll go back to the leaders and see what's currently going on there. Kieran Evans 1.5 still behind at the moment, with Rich still leading at the moment as they head under the bridge through, once again, as I say, through, that name was just in my head a second ago, a Pilgrim drop through Westfield. And once again, for some reason that's not decided that wants to be there. We're going to actually put that there because I don't think it, so leave that side by side there, and we'll leave that here. I'm just going to move these side by side as a. This is the one thing about having just the one monitor set up. It's rather annoying and all of that. Anyway, there we go. Still carrying on, as I say. Kieran trying to gain ground, but he's 1.4 seconds behind. He's gained a little bit on that lap. Rich, as I say, proving his worth. I believe he won one of the 2 rounds of the BMW M2 Cup yesterday by literally around about a tenth of a second between himself and Kieran Evans in race 1. Of course, race 2 was a little bit of a mess in the pre-season, of course. But Rich did, of course, cement his position as one of the potential drivers to watch out for on that one, and he's also currently cementing himself in race 1 of 2 here in the 911 GT3 Cup, round number 1. All, as I say, on homegrown racetracks in the UK, so as I say, very much following along the sort of real life of what you would actually get, because I believe this is a part of the feeder part, it's not feeder series, but part of the British Touring Car weekend. It's one of the roundups, well, one of the roundups, one of the lead-ups to the British Touring Car weekend on a few tracks during the season, of course. So, following very much in the footsteps of those sorts of things. As I say, we're just under 4 minutes, just about 4 minutes left as this race 1 is closing in on the final axis. I think someone is in the pit lane, so I think that may well have been Jamie, potentially. Well, I'm not sure exactly who that is. You can allow me just to check, just for a brief moment, who's coming out of pit lane. It's the number 85, so yes, it is. It's McNish. McNish, who's had some trouble. He's 2 laps down on the leaders, unfortunately for him. So just a very unfortunate in this case. But as I say, Kieran Evans also looking good in his pursuit of getting a good start in this 5-round calendar. Of course, it's a little bit shorter, as the rounds will be, as I say, should go fairly quickly in terms of that, because the 20-minute races. And these cars might feel a little bit longer, but as I say, it's going to feel like it's going to go sort of real quick. So we got about 11-12 laps in the M2 Cup car, so we're going to get a little bit more in these ones, and it'll give an idea of what we're expecting to see. So we'll do a quick, as I say, we'll do an onboard shot, I do believe, of what we can see potentially from Kieran's perspective as he tries to chase down Rich ahead. More snappy movements and sort of reactions you get from the car than what you would in the M2 Cup cars, of course. As I say, that race, once it got going, the pre-season was a good race from last week, as Kieran does manage to catch the car. He probably will lose a little bit of time coming towards the line on that one. 2.3 the gap as a result of that, as we're going to go a little bit further back in position. Who's currently leading the way at the moment. Jamie currently there. CMP on, I'm trying to find Blackadder. There he is. We can find Brookie. There we are. The number 32 Porsche, who's trying to chase down Blackadder. 1.9 is the gap between those two. This car at the moment is turning out that gap still about 2.4 seconds after that small mistake, as Fred Osborne is not too far behind either. Through Druids, a little bit of a mistake there from Brooksy. Heads down towards Graham Hill Bend and heading through as they head towards 30s. Once again, 2 minutes remaining as the sort of business end of this race starts to wrap up in just a few more minutes, as race 1 we'll be wrapping up and we will be getting ourselves into action for race 2, following very quickly afterwards another 20-minute race format for that one to follow up. As I say, certain people will be looking for a better race 2, having made picks, I believe, for some heavy damage replacement. CMP is also carried on as well still. He sustained a little bit of damage in that wall collision while chasing down the car ahead at the time. Oh, mistake there from Brooksy. Oh, he's kept out of the wall. Oh, that was very close. Fred Osborne having to avoid him. Let's just say there might well have been a code of certain colours that's definitely not a usual one. So Fred managing to avoid him would have been face to face with a Porsche Cup car, a Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car, facing the wrong way. But yeah, as I say, Fred now he's got a little bit of a gap to Brookie. Brookie obviously having loses position to CMP official as well. So unfortunate there. As we are indeed coming up on the end of this race, so we'll go back up to your leaders, if I can find that. There we are, Kieran Evans back on board in the number 92, chasing down the number 911 still. The 1.9 seconds between those two. 7th place, as I say, is now odd still on lead lap. 8th, of course, having a little bit of trouble with that sort of thing. But we are coming up towards the end. This is probably going to be the final lap around. We're coming up towards the... I think actually this could be the final lap, actually, if they don't get a lap time on the boards. But I think it will be just enough. I think Rich is just going to cross the finish line with 13 laps. So the white flag is out, or to mark the final lap. So can Kieran Evans do anything on this final lap as he's gaining a little bit of ground? 1.8 seconds to Rich in front, just needs a little bit more, potentially get into that range where he can perhaps get a little bit of draft off of the car in front, that being Rich, who has led pretty much this entire way from Kieran. The front row of course hasn't really changed, as they're now heading through Surtees for the final time in race 1 here, now heading up through through Pilgrim Drop for what is the final time, and this is the now head towards Westfield. And 1.4 seconds is the gap. It's going to be a little bit close for comfort for Rich in the end, but as I say, Jewish Dave far too far behind to really be concerned, albeit, well, stay too far behind for Kieran Evans to be concerned about him. He probably hasn't been the same for a while in that one, but Jewish Dave on his own in 3rd position, even though that brief mistake would nearly put him under pressure from Blackadder in 4th. Kieran Evans still trying to push to get back within, as I say, see if he can push to get within the range where he can potentially make a move, but the 92 car I think is just going to fall short, as Rich in the 911 car is going to be able to win race number 1 of 2 here in round 1 of the Brands Hatch here for the 911 GT3 Cup Series, and it is going to be Rich who is race victor here in race 1. Kieran Evans 1.5 in the end behind. Jewish, I think Dave, we'll see if I can find him if he hasn't already crossed the line. Jewish Dave just coming across the line to finish in position 3. Very lonely P3 in the end for Jewish Dave, and it's basically, as I say, 4th position is going to go to Blackadder, if he can be found. There's Blackadder, he's crossed the finish line. Fred Osborne I think is going to come home in position 5, McNeish still in the pit lane. If I can find the cars I'm looking for. Fred has crossed the start finish line. CMP official is going to come home in P6. Brookie coming home in P7. Then Jamie and McNeish. McNeish having been in the pits for most of the race. CMP official, and as I say, there we're going to have people coming across the line. McNeish still in the pit lane. Brookie coming around to the final corner through Clark Kerr for the final time and going a little bit wide for his troubles as he comes down the Brabham straight for the final time. And that will be that for his race. P7, unfortunate in the end. That's been costing him a position and, well, very nearly being wiped out by Fred Osborne, who finished in 5th position. But there is your classification for round number 1. Ignore from 9th, 10th to 12th, because unfortunately they were not able to get into the race. Probably not going to be in race 2 either, unfortunately. So 15 laps in the end. Rich was your winner by 1.5 seconds from Kieran Evans. Dave finishes in the final spot on the podium. Blackadder in 4th, Fred Osborne in 5th, CMP Official will come home in 6th, BNY Brookie in 7th, Jamie in 8th, and McNeish 6 laps down will finish in position number 9, the final position for what will score points. What's going on? I can't see that. Anyway, as we're just waiting for end of race timer, and then we will be back underway pretty soon for race number 2. Just awaiting all the drivers just getting back into the garage. Well, there we go. Race 2 will be underway shortly. 2 minutes, the 2 minute timer, just over 2 minute timer is on once again, so we will be seeing that fairly shortly soon. Right, long pauses, but we are going to be back underway for race number 2 in just over a minute's time. Excuse me, that came across. But anyway, so race number 1. If it's anything like race number 2, if it's anything like race number 1, I expect Rich will be wanting to do the double here. 30 seconds. Put himself as the dominant one going into round number 2. But looking forward, as I said, seeing how, all the drivers get on once again, as it's it'll be close seeing how the drivers get on once again. As I say, it was a little bit spread out last time. Let's see if race 2 will be a little bit closer here in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, as we're under 10 seconds on the timer, and we are going to be getting underway racing in just under 3 seconds time, as we are away, as we will be getting underway just now. And let's just see how this all shapes up once again. We are going to have racing action, as I say, once again, side by side they head in towards Clark Curve to start this race off once again. And let's get the show on the road for what is the final race of the round number 1. And then obviously we'll have standings for round number 2. The 911 versus number 92 in front row once again. And then Jewish Dave and Rookie behind. Obviously Jewish Dave will open for a little bit more pace than he had in race 1, a bit of a lonely third position for him. As here we go once again, green flag racing is about to be underway once again as we go in towards Paddock Hill Bend for race number 2 of start. And away we go for race number 2. Rich with a good start off the grid, and Kieran Evans trying to go around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend as Jewish Dave tries to send it down the inside there, as it's a side by side. I think that's Blackadder trying to get past there, as Fred's trying to go round the outside. He does manage to get the move done on Blackadder's lost a few positions down the field. CMP official has managed to get past as well. Jamie's, I think, side by side. Jamie's trying to get a move done as Blackadder's got Manish and Jamie. Manish trying to make his way around the outside of Graham Hill Bend. Does manage to make the move work as he now head through towards 30s. Jamie as well. Blackadder's lost a few positions. I think he may well have some damage on that car because he does seem to be a little bit slow, so he's in a little bit of trouble in that one. So could be some damage on that car. It could just have been a bad start, but he has dropped back down to P9. Looking back, as I say, trying to see what's going on. As I say, I think Brookie once again, Jewish Dave falling a little bit behind in terms of the front two. Kieran Evans still keeping Rich on this first lap around under wraps at the moment. Brookie with Fred Osborne just behind, and CMP official who's putting pressure on just behind. We're going to go into, I think, we'll keep it with Kieran Evans at the moment, as these two are still close. Rich will want to pull the trigger at some point and pull away from the very bright green Porsche behind, the number 92 car versus, of course, the 911 car of Rich, ahead, leading on the first lap around as we start here, just over 18 minutes left, 2 minutes a lap so far. Which tells you, to say how long, as I say, the lap times, I say, will come down as we go through, but it's about high 1 minute 20 lap times around here in these cars, as Kieran Evans still continues to put the pressure on, as Brookie's got Jewish Dave on taps there for position 3, trying to get onto that final spot on the podium there, as Kieran Evans still trying to get the position done. As Jewish Dave, we're going to go on board with that. And Jamie a little bit further back there, battling in just out of Graham Hill Bend towards, as Blackadder's behind these two as well. He's managed to recover after that bad start. Jamie's going to be out of position for 30s here, which is going to give a chance for Blackadder to potentially make a position up here if he's able to do that. Manish with a better start, of course, this time round, not being in the wars like he was last time. 6 laps down, of course, in race 1, finishing in last position, P9 for him at the moment. Is Jamie, as I say, I think that was almost a side by side. That CMP official and Fred Osborne losing the position to CMP official as they're heading through Sheen Curve, I do believe, side by side. But Fred Osborne does back out of it as they now head into Stirling's and into towards Clearways as they head into Clark Curve. The final corner, turn 9, between the two of them. CMP official a little bit out of position here. Fred Osborne a chance down the inside of Clark Curve. If you can make this work down the inside, we're going to go on the onboard shot here and see what this looks like. As I say, you can see that very bright colour ahead. That's a very big rearward motion there from Fred Osborne. Does manage to stay within the gap though, as it looks like the gaps, as I say, spread out a little between a few of the front runner, a few of the cars ahead. Fred still holding on to that. Fred still trying to get past CMP official. CMP official obviously had that minor tap with the wall, which cost them a few positions in race number 1, and looking to try and see if he can get away. Obviously that would have lost a little bit of momentum and time, as we're heading towards 30s once again, with Fred Osborne still trying to see if he can get a little bit closer to make a move as they now head in towards Pilgrim Drop and in towards Westfield once again. Bringing out the gears of that Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car is Fred Osborne down towards Westfield, and he's trying to see how close he can get to making a move, but he's not quite close enough at the moment. Between the two of them, you can see Brookie just ahead as well. Jewish Dave has fell back. As I say, once again, he's in that comfortable third position at the moment. Obviously, we've seen that he very nearly had a moment in that first race, which nearly cost him that podium position to Blackadder. But unfortunately, as I say, Blackadder recovering back through the field. He's currently in 7th position in the number 24 car, 5.1 seconds behind these two on the radar, as McNeish and Jamie battle for 8th position as well, just a little bit further behind. I'm going to look and see what's going on. Kieran Evans. Now these two are still in the positions where they're currently 1.3 seconds apart from each other, as Rich is already trying to pull the trigger already, trying to get away from Kieran just in front. And as I say, Kieran's going to have to make it, maybe increase the pace a little bit to try and see if he can if he can actually get back within that potential drafting range of that car in front of Rich. But Rich, as I say, will be determined to get himself away as quickly as per possible from that very bright green Porsche behind him, the number 92, which is in hot pursuit of the number 911 car just ahead. They head through Pilgrim Drop into Westfield once again, and these two just about at range from each other at the moment, so we're going to have a look and see what else is going on at the moment. I think the gap is now 1.3 seconds between the two of them. Fred Osborne and CMP Official still very close together. I think Brookie's also in a little bit of trouble as well. He's made a mistake, and it's allowed CMP Official a chance to get close in the battle for, as I say, I don't know what the camera was doing there. That's just an interesting one there. You see CMP Official and the Rutronic number 96 trying to get a little bit closer to the back of Brookie here. Get within that drafting range where he can potentially make a move. Fred as well in tow, just behind in 6th position in the number 54. As a CMP Official a little bit wide coming out of Clark Curve. That's going to allow down the outside Fred Osborne a little bit better momentum round the outside as they head into Graham Hill Bend. That is a great move being done. And here we go round the outside. I think Fred Osborne completes the move into Graham Hill Bend, and CMP Official is down to position 6, having run a little bit wide, having lost momentum. And now Fred Osborne is now going to have to hold on to position number 5 from CMP Official in the very bright blue and yellow Porsche behind, as the Rutronic number 96 still as they head through Surtees, through Pilgrim Drop, and heading in towards Westfield once again, as it looks like Brookie's trying to gain a little bit of ground once again on Jewish Dave ahead. Jewish Dave could be in a little bit of trouble here if he doesn't manage to pick up his pace, as it looks like Brookie's got a little bit more pace at the moment, as CMP Official tries to go for a move, but he's very wide coming out of there and nearly makes the same mistake he made in race 1, where he ended up in the barriers in almost that very same position last time in race in race 1, of course. Managing to hold of that at the moment. This is we're going to go and see what the battle for position. We'll have a look and see what that battle in there is going in just a moment. As we've got McNeish still trying to make a move on Jamie for P8. Those two are within just about 1 second of each other at the moment, as Rookie's about 2.6 seconds back. Fred Osborne's also now in the back of him as well. So we'll go back and check out what's going on with that battle for position 4, as Brookie's holding on to that position in the number 32 Porsche versus the 54 Porsche in the pursuit for P4. McNish, oh my word, oh, that's a big crash. That's going to be a lot of damage. I suspect he's going to have to box for that one. As a Rookie now holding on to his position from Fred Osborne in position 4 as McNish for that massive crash. And that's an interesting place to have a crash, to be honest, because I didn't actually think anyone could actually crash at that point, to be honest. As potentially could have been some oversteer and all of that. Who knows? I shouldn't be one to judge on that one. As a Rookie, I think, was close to trying to make a move. Is Kieran Evans 1.1 seconds behind? He's gathered that gap up just a little bit between himself and Rich in the battle for the lead battle for race 2 here, as we're coming up on the half race distance marker here in race 2. So we're going into towards night time, I do believe. So we're going to be going into that point where we're going to be going into dusk soon, so the lights will be on the lights will be coming on soon on the cars. Of course, I think they're already coming on now. So it will be, as I say, you do need to sort of rely on yourself at night time, well, nighttime conditions a little bit more than most times, because of course the headlights will be the way of you seeing how close you are to your apexes, etc., etc. As Rookie's a little bit under pressure here now from Fred Osborne. Fred Osborne trying to get as close as possible to the back into Druids. Now heading through Graham Hill and then towards Graham Hill Bend once again between these two. As these two are quite close together at the moment. That's McNish in the pits. McNish in the pits, unfortunately. Another long pit stop for him. Probably going to be another last place finish. I think he's probably going to finish a few laps down due to how short the track length actually is around here. As Rookie in the number 32 is going to be under pressure here from Fred Osborne in the 54 as they head down through head through Pilgrim Drop again. And through Westfield, Brookie's out wide, so is Fred Osborne though, so they both kind of copied each other as they headed through the grass and gravel there. I believe that was just through, I think that was just after Westfield at Dingle Dell. As they're now at Sheen Curve, and these cars, as I say, their lights indeed now coming on indeed, as we are heading through on just about 10 minutes.
We are halfway through, keep it up.
There we go. As there is your half race distance confirmation. As Brookie now trying to get himself back within range. Just now Kieran Evans, that gap is now up to 1.5 seconds once again. Jewish Dave 11.4 to the cars ahead. He's been in a sort of a third position where he's quicker than, just about quicker than the cars behind him, but he doesn't seem to have the pace of the cars ahead. So we'll be hoping for a little bit better in round 2 of this 5-round season. So as Rookie's still holding on to position 4 for the time being from Fred Osborne as they come out of it, going into Surtees once again for what will be the 7th time for these drivers. As it's just under, it's about 9 minutes remaining in this race 2. As you can see, I'm not sure, I think he may well be gaining a little bit of ground on Jewish Dave ahead. I think that gap was bigger previously, so they're, as I say, a little bit out wide again. Fred this time does manage to keep it on track, so we'll gain a little bit of ground, and you can see the lights on the back of that, the number 32 Porsche getting a little bit brighter from the 54 behind as they're heading through. I believe at the moment they're at Sheen Curve at the moment. I'm going to see if we can find number from Fred. Actually, is now they're trying to make a move there, and I think that's Starlins into Sterling's as heading through into Clark Curve through Clearways. As in towards the final corner through Clark Curve exit, and trying to use the lights to try and distract the car in front. That's a tactic that can be used by drivers to try and put drivers in front off from their apexes, but he's unperturbed. Is Brookie in front, and he does keep hold of his position as they head into Druids once again. Now heading through, they're going to be going in towards the next, towards Graham Hill Bend, through in towards Surtees, and towards Pilgrim Drop, as it's a little bit wide there for a brief moment there from Brooksy. He a little bit of a mistake heading through Surtees. As the cars do run a little bit wide coming out of there, and I wonder if that may also be a controller thing as well. I mean, also be a thing that could potentially be why he's doing it. As this reaching about 240 kilometers an hour as they head down, so they're heading down Pilgrim Drop, the longest straight on this track, of course. You can see just how much he is trying to put the car in front of him off, just with the lights of the car behind, which, as I say, it's not working at the moment. But as I say, Brookie has dropped behind Jewish Dave as they're heading down Clearways once again. These two still very close on track. 7 minutes remaining in this race 2. As Fred Osborne now trying to get the position done as they head down through Brabham Straight and in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Turn number 1 once again, heading through Halewoods Hill and in towards Druids once again. And once again it still remains the same story, not able to make the move, as Fred is once again stuck behind, looking at the back of a white Porsche. the number 32, the car ahead of him, of course. And so it looks like I think Rich has made a bit of a mistake actually. Something I hadn't clocked onto. I wonder if he's picked up some damage. Here's Dave is caught up a little bit. I want to see if I can see any damage on that Porsche, because that's unless that was just a slide. Obviously it will be hard to tell in these actual conditions. You can see how much I think he's probably going to have lost quite a bit of time. Doesn't look? It looks like it's just a spin for Rich, because that gap was not that big to Kieran Evans, who now leads this race quite comfortably as well. In second, in the lead of the Grand Prix, 9 laps done so far. As they're about to go into lap number 10 through Clark Curve, as Kieran Evans probably has already gone through that final corner, and Rich going to have to regain the ground once again, and that's good. As I say, it's going to give him a challenge. He's only got about 5 minutes left to actually do that, so that's definitely going to be a challenge for the number 911 Porsche to gain that ground back in the number 92. And we're back to the battle currently going on between for position 4 once again. Fred Osborne still trying to put the pressure on the back of Brookie here for position number 4. As I say, the number 54 car seems to be a little bit quicker at the moment than the number 32 in these conditions. Perhaps at night time it's maybe the colder conditions making the difference here. As I say, what's the track temperature? It's 21 degrees at the moment on track. Track temperature, obviously probably not that in air temperature around here. No, it wouldn't be that this time of night around on a UK track. But as I say, still all very close together for it. Well, these two very close together still, as we once again reach the closing stages of this race 2, and probably closing it very quickly and getting this whole this whole weekend wrapped up. As I say, Fred Osborne out a little bit wide, bouncing across the grass there. Going to cost him a little bit of time. He was closer than that before, but he's about 9/10ths back. He's probably going to drop back to a point probably beyond 1 second, as Brookie's got back down to 3.3 seconds, and now with less pressure perhaps can gain ground on Jewish Dave ahead, as WW Rich 8.5 behind Kieran for the lead of this second race here at Brands Hatch. As Fred Osborne still, I think he's still held on to about, I think he's 1 second back at the moment, yeah, so he did lose just about, he was just within the fringes of just over 1 second. As I say, Rich is still trying to recover time back in clear air from that, obviously a spin earlier on in this race, but as I say, it could be, as I say, Kieran Evans has a chance, because as I say, Rich won race 1 here, and we're going to have the other winner, another winner, which is going to be Kieran Evans for race 2 at the moment, looking like it, as we're about just over 3 minutes left in this actual whole race. As I say, hopefully we will have more drivers be able to be connected next time around next week, to make this, as I say, more interesting, in terms of like more drivers on track, as I say, to perhaps spice up a few more things. It looks like Fred looks like he's now fell back out of that range, as now Brookie's got himself. He's got the bit between his teeth as Brookie now. What am I looking for? There, that's the car I'm looking for there. The car ahead now, having made a little bit of a mistake though, has the number 32 Porsche, and really needs to sort of gain that ground back. And did have 2.6 seconds. It's probably going to be a little bit more than that now, as they are heading through in towards those final few. As very close between all of those drivers there. These two in position in this battle. The white Porsche still keeping hold of the position, but it's a little bit of a skewed line into Druids. There could be a chance here for Fred to perhaps gain a little bit of ground, but is not able to do so. As I think he is going to be looking at positions, below position there. As still all, as I say, these two locked together. They pretty much have been. They were locked together for, I think, last race 1 as well. So these two are providing the entertainment that is being looked for in terms of what could be expected, as Fred is think he's made a mistake there. He's fell a little bit back. He has gained a little bit, but he has made a little mistake, I do believe. Here, it's so easy to do it on like one of these old school tracks. I mean, there's no runoff area at all. It's all grass and gravel. So, so you really only, if you end up in the gravel traps, if you can keep it going, you're all good. But you do just lose a lot of time. So it's 2.8 seconds between third and fourth positions as well. Rich is 7 seconds behind. He has gained a little bit, but it's going to be about. He's going to run out of time to actually make a move work here. For Rich, unfortunately, that mistake costing him is we're just about a minute left, and final laps are going to be coming up. We're probably going to be, say, 2 laps to go here. We got about 15 in the first race, so I'm assuming we're going to get about the same in this second one, as we're going to be going in towards what will be the final laps coming up soon. Kieran Evans 6.5 now. Rich has really started gaining the ground, and as Kieran's probably not wanting to push too much in the lead of the Grand Prix, because, well, if I was in his position, I'd probably be exactly the same. I'm going to be honest. You've got a lead because of a mistake from the car behind, or car ahead in this case, and you don't really want to make that mistake yourself and perhaps lose a lot of time by spinning or getting damage on the car, which we have seen can lose you a whole lot of time, as I think McNeish has found out on a couple of occasions here tonight around this circuit. As the two, as I say, the two Porsches are
right, the leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
Final lap of the race is now going on. Fred trying to go round the outside of Sterling's, I believe. He was trying to do that, and he's now trying to make a move into clearways. As they head down clearways into Clark Kerr for what will be the final time. I think it is going to be Kieran to win. It's 6.8 seconds between the top two. But this battle is being held on to for the moment, as Fred is going to try and go round the outside of Brabham Straight as they head down towards Turn 1, Paddock Hill Bend, through Halewood Hills, and then in towards Druids, and then he's going to be running out of opportunities here. It is going to be race victory, I do believe, for Kieran. As I say, I think Rich is not close enough as a held position as a Brookie, but it's going to be out of position in Druids as he can now go in towards Graham Hill and towards Graham Hill Bend. And for the final time, these two are going to be very close on track position as they now head towards Surtees. They've got the next one coming up, which is going to be Pilgrim Drop just after the longest straight on the circuit. There's going to be a chance for Fred to perhaps make a move here, so he's within range. It's going to be crucial for him to get a good exit, which I don't know if he has or not got a good exit. He's still behind, as Fred is now still trying to hold his... Well, Rookie's still holding on to position 4 at the moment. 6.3 the gap at the front. It's not going to be enough. It is going to be Kieran who's going to take the victory here, but it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come home in this position. As I say, it's going to be congratulations to Kieran. Kieran has won indeed. Rich is going to come home in second. Who's going to be ahead? I think Brookie's made a mistake there, and I think he's kept out of the wall, but it is going to be position lost for Brookie. It's going to be position 4 for Fred Osborne. Fred Osborne does get the position in the end. Kieran does win this race, and in the end Fred does get position 4 off of Brookie when they cross the start finish line. As well done to Kieran Evans. As I say, a little bit, as I say, he managed to reap from the mistake of Rich behind him. But congratulations, as I say, Rich, not a bad result, first and second. He probably would have preferred 2 first in this one, but it's a first and a second for Rich, and it's a first and a second for Kieran. So those two on good footings for themselves. And of course, yeah, so Fred did come home in 4th position. Jewish Dave, and a very lonely, once again, 3rd position for those two, of course. And as I say, those two in unison as they go down Pilgrim Drop. Well done there between the two of them. Anyway, as that is your results. Kieran Evans is your winner from Rich, who was 6 seconds behind in the end. Jewish Dave once again in a very lonely 3rd position. Fred was closing in on him come the end of it, 2.7 seconds, but it wasn't enough. Brookie with that mistake on the final lap on lap 15, and he came home in position 5. Blackadder in P6, that early mistake costing him quite massively. Position 7 was CMP official, and a very quiet race 2 for him, considering he was battling with Fred Osborne in race 1. Jamie comes home in position 8, and in position number 9, and unfortunate once again for him is, unfortunately, it's just once again was not his day. McNeish in 9th position, unfortunate for him. Anyway, that is going to be your roundup for everything that indeed did occur. And let's just say that there was a few in there, maybe a few mistakes in that one. And as I say, it's only going to get about the same as we go through, because it's going to be some very tight tracks as we go throughout the season here. Round number 2 is going to bring us to, I believe, if I had a look at that one correctly just beforehand, round 2 of the Porsche Cup 911 GT3 Cup will be from Oulton Park, which, if you think this track is tight, Oulton Park is even tighter. So this one, that's definitely going to be an interesting one. But yeah, well done, as I say, to the actual drive. Well done to the drivers, as I say, who finished the race tonight, and look forward to seeing how the drivers get on next time out in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup at Oulton Park on the 1st of February. So that'll be next Saturday. And as I say, next on this channel, once again on Friday, you will have BMW M2 Cup on Friday, round about 8:30 start. As I say, I'm giving a rough estimation of all that because of the fact of including only part of free practice, of course. But yeah, that is your entire roundup for this race weekend, this race at round 1 from Brands Hatch. Hopefully you will be back for round number 2 at Oulton Park. But until then, it is goodbye from me, and look forward to seeing you once again for that one when it does occur next week.